Hi all, welcome back to the puzzle solving series, where you get to see what goes through my mind as I encounter these positions for the very first time. So I'll give you an inside look at my thought process and how I go about making my decisions in these situations. So first things first, I'll load a new position and start the timer. Now let's get started. First thing I notice about this position, big attack on the king we're trying to make with white. So they are very wide open, no pawns in front of it. We're also down a substantial amount of material, so I would consider this situation highly urgent. They also have a checkmate threat. Well, not quite a checkmate threat, but queen d1 could be a problem, and of course bishop takes e4. There are some pins working in our favor that make those ideas not hit quite as hard at the beginning, so it's not completely urgent, but there still is the material deficit to deal with. So moves like rook e6 wouldn't be possible because of queen to d1. So the first move is going to have to be a capture or a check. We just don't have time for a quiet move in this position. So our checks are kind of similar to our captures. We have rook takes c6 and queen takes c6. Queen takes c6 can never work because we're just going to, after queen takes c6, we have nothing and we still have problems with the back rank. We're just losing more material. If rook takes c6, queen takes is forced. We could go with try to get in queen e5 and queen takes b2. Though I do wonder, even if, like, let's say best case scenario, we manage to trade everything and get their rook at the end, I still not sure that's winning because of this far advanced past a pawn. So even if we get a pure queen ending where we manage to go queen e5 and pick up that rook at the end, that's still not going to be winning, and in Lichess chess puzzles they have to be winning. So that's not going to be enough to hit a win condition. I think what we need to do is find a way to win this rook outright and not give up the exchange for it. So if we start with rook takes d7, if queen takes d7, then queen e5 check just picks up the rook due to the fork. So they're going to have to play king takes. And then I wonder if it's possible to get their king in a situation where this rook on b2 can be taken. So can we deliver a series of checks from that spot? So our checks to start with would be queen g4, queen f5, and queen h7 after the trade. So if we trade, let's say queen h7, if they step onto the back rank, then it's pretty easy then. Queen h8, wherever they step onto the back rank wins. So the only things left to think about would be queen to e7 and king to e6. So if trades and queen h7, queen to e7, then we need another check, and I think rook to d1 may do the trick. Though I am a little bit wary of our back rank, though it's probably fine. We want to separate them from their queen, so maybe if king e8, we still have queen h8 check, and if king e6, we have queen to e6 check, and king e5. Well, if king e5, we can just take the bishop, and their king is so exposed. We have to be winning that. So, queen h7, queen e7, rook check. If bishop d5, then we can again take, and let's say king c6. We can't take on e7 there because we get back ranked mated at the end, but maybe queen back to d3 and say they're still very exposed. That could be, but even so, like, that's might not be the case because they can go rook b1, force us to take, they pick up our rook at the end. Though if we have queen d1 check, if they're king on d5 taking our rook, and we have queen d1 check at the end, taking their a4 pawn, then that would be a winning queen ending, so that could still be very possible. King e6 has to be considered. but I think there we can give another check. The check is either going to come from g8 or g6, and I'm still not sure. If g6, yeah, my instinct says g6 because if they step back, then again queen g7 and we can pick up the rook. And if they step forward with like king f4, then maybe f4 check, try to separate them from the queen. They step to the d file, then rook d1, and we win the queen with the skewer. So I don't think they can do that. So yeah, I think it's rook takes d7 followed by queen h7. If we were to go queen g4 or queen f5, I don't see it if they just like go back to c7. And then they can like hide on b6. So I am going to take on d7 and play queen to h7. Okay, and they went queen e7, and the plan here was rook to d1. And I still think that's good. I think bishop d5 might be played, and with rook takes d5, and then if they go king e6, we have rook e5 check, which is good because king takes e5, queen takes e7, and anywhere else they move the king, we get the queen with check. So, and if they go bishop d5, we can take, and king c6 is likely, but maybe there just rook back to d1. So I'm going to go ahead and play this check. Okay, yeah, the puzzle ends here. And I do think bishop d5 is the toughest defense. But now either, I was thinking queen d3 or rook d1. It does look like queen d3 is the strongest move. It's interesting the engine showed queen f5 as originally playable, but apparently it's not. I'm curious to see the reason. Queen f7. Queen f7 and it's taking advantage. It has to be something with the back rank. And double attack on the queen and the rook. You could go rook c5 to try to get the rook part out of it, but then yeah, and maybe solving the back rank. How is this lost, right? Oh, it's just lost because the endgame is lost after a3. So after king c6, queen d3 I was thinking. Rook d1 I thought could be possible. Oh, wait, no, not because the queen takes h7. Yeah, in this line, yeah, I don't know why I was getting confused, but queen d3 is necessary then to save them both. And yeah, I thought they might go rook b1 here. I do remember looking at this, and then queen takes, king takes d5, and queen d1 check at the end, picking up the pawn on a4. So, yeah, I think that's just about everything on this. There wasn't really any other things to consider on move 1. Yeah, everything else is just losing by force. There's just nothing there. It's pretty easy to work out that there's nothing after rook takes c6. Queen takes, queen e5 check. Even if you get this check, they can go back, or it loses in a myriad of ways. But queen d6, yeah, just can't get the rook back. So yeah, that one is mostly forcing moves, not too difficult to work out, and yeah, you just have to see if these checks don't lead to anything either. So partly elimination, but also working out all of their options here and realizing each one of them leads to either winning the rook back or separating them from the rest of their pieces. So, alright, thank you for watching this one, and I'll see you in the next one.